If you struggle with a slice, if you struggle with the chicken wing, if you can't release the golf club, you don't understand how to, in this very pouch are the answers. This is tremendous. So setting up the Gem Golf is super easy. You just got to make sure that the clamp's in the right place, make sure the rod's pointing down once the toe is up, and the ball is there to give you the balance. And the best way for you to check this is actually just to hold it probably on 2 fingers. As you do so, rod and ball go down, toe of the club points up. And why that's important is if I just put that into my takeaway position, that'd be beautiful, wouldn't it? And if I just turn my body round and go into that position, that would effectively be my follow through. So I'm trying to make sure that the toe of the club points up at certain stages of the swing. So for me, I see a lot of golfers as they get the club on the inside. This is probably the most common one. And what happens is that lead wrist bows and pushes the club behind the body. And in doing so, I would be there now. So although the toe of the club might be up, the shaft of the club is in a completely wrong position. But what I can do here is just kind of try and get the feeling, the sensation that the toe of the club and the club head are actually higher than my hands at this point on the takeaway. And again, the rod is going to keep that toe of the club into position. So once I'm there, I know that my takeaway is in a really solid and nice position. And then what I want to try and do then is going to release the club back down to neutral, and then allow the club to continually release up through the follow through position, making sure that the toe of the club is up and the club head is also higher than my hands. So you'll start to get an understanding that the hands are going to work in this direction rather than this direction, all right? And I think grip plays a huge role in this, because if you've got a real, I'm gonna say an incorrect grip there, but if you've got a really bad grip, okay, so if you're super weak, okay, you're gonna get into a position where you're gonna really struggle, because that right arm's gonna straighten, okay, your trail arm's gonna straighten. If you've got a super strong grip on the right hand, you're gonna struggle to actually hinge the wrist correctly, and the club ends up behind. So grip does play a huge role in the wrist action of the golf swing. So that's where the two can collaborate quite nicely. Make sure you've got a relatively neutral grip, can be a little bit weak, can be a little bit strong, but it's as long as it's affecting the golf club in the correct way, or a better way, then it's not going to have too many issues. Now, one of the things I would do for this, I've got a very short hole here. I purposely chose a 70-yard hole, and what I would do is literally just get the sensation here, kind of a takeaway position to follow through position. And for me, I have a tendency to over release the face, and the rod will then come flying out, and I can feel that. That's quite a heavy position for my hands to control. So I'm just trying to make sure that I'm releasing this golf club into the right place. And then what I'm going to do, the best way to do this is to do 10 of those practice swings. Just unscrew the rod, pop it on the deck, and then get a hole in one. Oh, and straight away there, what I can sense now with my follow through position, look how high the club head is, and look at the angle of the face. That's massive for me. That's absolutely massive for me, because I bow this trail wrist, and the club ends up over there, and a little bit, maybe even a bit more flipped closed. So that's absolutely huge. And I would only say, really, just hit one shot, screw the rod back on, and this is why because it's such a good training, it's so easy to use. You're back into your practice position really quickly. Oh, wow, that's centered strike. Oh, what a little grass circle in the middle of the face. That is sexy. Right, that position there, up, there, down, up. And why this is great for the old chicken wingers out there is if I get into the right position, the lead arm, the lead elbow is back into my body, my armpit's nice and closed. You could even double this drill up with a towel underneath you and just kind of get the elbows in close, get the sensation that your body's rotating and the club's starting to work upwards and your chicken wing's gone. If you do come through with the chicken wing, you'll certainly start to feel the weight of the rod. It's also fantastic for golfers that have a bit of a slice, because it does something completely different. You get to the top of the backswing with this. You're not hitting balls with the rod. You get to the top of the backswing with this and just let the weight just drop. Use the rod. Get a sensation of the rod pulling your arms down. Obviously then, without the rod being there, you've got to try to figure out how to make that move again without relying on the weight. But again, it's a fantastic little training aid to make sure that you've got the weight working its way back down. So if I do a couple of practice swings again, because that was awesome, if I'm being perfectly honest. So that was only 2 practice swings. Again, the recommended amount of practice swings for this would be about 10. Wheel off the old rod, plonk it on the deck, take aim to the flag. Oh, it's just different. It just moves differently, and I'm not gonna lie, they are close to the flag as well. I hope you can see that on the video, because that's exciting for me. And when you feel like this has become a little bit easier, within this little pouch, we've got level 2. So it's basically a slightly smaller rod. So whip off the ball of the long rod, plonk it on the deck, screw in the smaller rod, and all this is doing now is just affecting the weight. It's giving you less of an exaggerated feel. So what's encouraging you to do is actually feel it for yourself a little bit. Okay, work it out for yourself now. The weight's there, okay, but it's not quite as strong as it was. So I can definitely feel a weight change. So again, get through your 10 practice swings with this as well. You'll be able to make the same move. You'll be able to, the rod's going to still impact you in the same way. You're going to be able to feel the change, but it's putting a little bit more onus on you to actually make it work as well. So that when this comes off, there's less of a change between the two, and we just hit that same shot again. And it's almost as if 70 yards now is my new favorite yardage, with these little beautiful looking grass golf ball in the middle of the club face. Now, just to quickly fast track onto the very final one, which is basically an even smaller rod. Now, the ball doesn't go onto this, and what we actually do with this is turn the clamp round. This is to basically give you totally less feedback in terms of the feel. We're taking out all the rod weight completely, the ball weight completely, and basically now it's 100% accountability. It's basically saying, do it yourself, all right? This is on you. All we're going to give you now is a reference point, okay? So the reference point, I flipped it round. You can actually hit balls with this now, so get that nice and straight so it's parallel to the leading edge. So I'm going to up there. I can't feel much, but now that's pointing back at me, so I know it's in the right place. And as I go up to there, that again is pointing back at me through impact. No need to take the rod off, because again, it's very minimal. It's a very minimal weight change. And again, I'll be honest, I just caught it just a little bit short, but it was a sensational little strike, beautiful ball mark on my club face, and I feel extremely confident that I'm able to work the club in the correct manner. This, you probably heard me absolutely rave about it already, but I do absolutely love this. I use it myself, I use it for coaching, I use it for my own warm-ups, just to kind of make sure I've got the timing right and the general pattern of my swing going correctly, and it's helping me, so I want it to basically help you. Guys, if you enjoyed this video, please do like and subscribe. Loads more content to come.